Hello everyone, it's Hunter and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, it is so nice to meet you. Today's video, I am going to be giving you guys a recap of the books I read in March. I am a little bit behind on this, but hopefully you guys will still like it. I have read 30 books so far this year and it's like not quite mid-April. So I read some good ones. In March, I didn't read a ton, but I still read some good ones. So I wanted to share them with you. So if you guys are new to my channel and have not subscribed already, I would love it if you guys would do so down below. And also give this video a thumbs up. And let's just go ahead and get into the books. The first book I read was actually an Amazon original short story by Jane Green, and it's When We Were Friends. And it came out in October of 2024, only 44 pages. It is about a woman, Lucy, who has just been divorced, and she meets a new friend named Elle, who is a younger woman who they just kind of have like a super instant connection, and they basically become attached to the hip and inseparable. And then one day Lucy learns something about Elle that makes her question their entire friendship. So I really enjoyed this. What did I give it? 4 stars? Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I'm not sure why I docked off a point, but I will say that short stories often fall short of full character development, and a lot of times do not like conclude a story in a good way. Like a lot of times it's very rushed, and I did not feel like the conclusion of this was rushed. I felt like there was actually like good character development, and I felt like it was a complete story even though it was still a short story. And like I said, sometimes short stories just don't finish. They seem like it's like a lot of detail in the beginning and then all of a sudden it just jumps to the end. So I like that there was more conclusion. The next book I read was Mistakes We Never Made by Hannah Brown, like the Bachelorette Hannah Brown. And it's about Emma and Finn. Emma is the bridesmaid or the maid of honor for her best friend, Sybil. And the morning of the welcome party, it's like at a resort. So the morning of the welcome party, Sybil disappears. Nobody knows where she went. And so Emma is like a people pleaser and she wants everything to be perfect. So she decides that she needs to go figure out where Sybil is and bring her back for the welcome party, the rehearsal, and the wedding. But she doesn't have a car, so she asks Finn to borrow his car, and Finn is like, "You're not taking my car without me." So they take his car, they drive to Vegas and San Diego and then Vegas, and they are spending lots of time together. Something about Finn and Emma is that they are kind of enemies in a sense. Basically, they have a past, and every single time they almost got together, something prevented them from being together. And I guess Emma just holds a grudge about those things. So she is spending time with him and getting to know him as an adult. So very much forced proximity, and she is trying to she realizes that she actually really does like him, and there's a reason why they almost got together so many times when they were younger. I thought it was really good. I was actually really, really impressed, just because it's a Bachelorette person. I wasn't expecting much. I think maybe there might have been a ghostwriter on this as well. I feel like I saw somewhere, I'm not 100%, but I feel like I saw somewhere that this book was like co-written by someone else. I would have given it 5 stars. However, I feel like my rating is a little bit skewed because there is a second book coming out soon, and if I wouldn't have known that a second book was coming out soon, then I would have been really mad at the way that it ended. So if you were going into this with no knowledge of a second book, if you were going into it with like no expectations of it continuing, if you thought it was completely a standalone, then you'd probably be mad at the ending too, and that's why I gave it 4 stars. But I did really like it. I thought it was a cute story, and overall I really liked it. The next book that I read was also an Amazon Originals short story, and it is The Conjurer's Wife by Sarah Penner. And this is about a man who is a magician essentially, and he has these astounding manifestations. I'm quoting from the Goodreads description. His wife and assistant Olivia is mystified, but then she sees something that kind of is able to shatter all of his illusions, and she feels like the power belongs to her. I gave this 3 stars. I felt like the ending could have been like more. I feel like this could have been like turned into a full-length novel, honestly, or even just like a novella, but a short story, I just didn't feel like there was enough. It had 40 pages. It came out on January 1st of 2025, so it's fairly new, but I do feel like this could have been continued into something a little bit greater, like more, seeing like the future of the wife and what she does with her life and things like that. So I enjoyed it, but I do feel like it was just missing something. So there's that. The next book I read is The Path to Loving Him by Megan Quinn, and it is the third book in the Almond Bay series. And I just have to talk about something very important first. Megan Quinn books are very spicy, and I feel like I have talked about Megan Quinn books in other book videos before, and I've talked about how her books are too spicy for me. There is one book series that I started reading by her that I loved, but each book got spicier and spicier to where I was uncomfortable. So I stopped reading the series. This is the last book. I think it's the last book in the series of Almond Bay. Almond Bay series, the first book is about one sister, the second book is about the other sister, and the third book is about the brother in this family. So I wanted to finish out the series and kind of see the conclusion of like this family story. So that's why I wanted to read it, because I heard that it is literally spicy from the very beginning. And it's true, it is. It's about a girl who is in town for a job interview, and she thinks she absolutely blew it and she's not gonna get the job. So she decides to have a one-night stand with a guy in a bar, and best ever, she says, and he also says the same thing. And then she turns out she got the job, and she thought she was never going to be back in that town again. So she was like, I don't really care who it is. So anyway, she has this one night stand, and turns out it is with her new boss, who is the brother in this family. He is the baseball coach at the local high school, and she is going to be the assistant coach and a teacher at the school that they work at. So this is very much forced proximity. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I really liked the story. When it comes to spicy books, I've said this before, but they're not my favorite, and I do try to stay away from spicy books as much as possible just because they often make me uncomfortable. However, I think that if you can skim through or take them out altogether, the spicy scenes, and still have like a solid plot, it's a good book. I do not like books that are purely spice, or where the like plot is driven by where it's literally just spice. Like, I want it to have a plot. So if you like if you like in your mind fade to black and then move to the next chapter or the next section or whatever, that's what I like. And I feel like you can do that with this one. So I really enjoyed it. But I did give it 4 stars because of how spicy it was. The next book I read is Strange Sally Diamond by Liz Nugent, and I really liked this one. I read another book by Liz Nugent a few years ago, and I really liked it. It's about this woman named Sally Diamond, and she had a very traumatic childhood, but she doesn't remember anything from before her 7th birthday. She remembers blowing out her candles on her 7th birthday and absolutely nothing before then, and it's because she had a traumatic childhood up until that point. She was adopted, and her birth family is very, what am I trying to say? It was a very traumatic experience. Her brain kind of blocked everything out, and she is super reclusive, super introverted. She doesn't like people. She doesn't like being around people. The only person who she really wants to spend time with is her dad. And when he made a joke that when he dies, he wants her to just throw him out with the trash, and they like burn all their trash. And that's exactly what she did. She burned her dad with the trash, and someone finds out and they're like, you can't do that. You can't just like do that. You have to report his death. So that was a thing. But because she's so reclusive, she kind of like, when her dad dies, she doesn't know what to do with herself, and then a family friend comes over and tries to help her figure out all of the aftermath. And this book had a lot of hope, I think. She's a very, like I said, strange character. She has lots of strange behavioral quirks, I guess. An interesting and different life that it has affected the way that her brain developed as she was growing up. So I do believe that the person that she becomes toward the end of the book, she's still herself in a way, but she also grows so much, and I loved the character development. She really does become a person who has a found family, and I greatly appreciate that. So that was a really good book. I was a big fan. I actually saw it at Barnes & Noble one day and it looked interesting, so I found it on Kindle Unlimited, which made me really excited, so I was excited about that one. The next book I read is This Is Why We Lied by Karen Slaughter, and this is the 12th book in the Will Trent series. I am not sure exactly how many of the Will Trent books that I've read, but I know I've read a good number of them, and I have a good number of them as well. I know I've read the first couple. There's probably some in the middle that I haven't read, but for the most part, I've read a lot of them, so I'm very familiar with the Will Trent series, and honestly, every time I think she's done, she's not. She just keeps going, which is fine by me. But this book is about Will, Will, who is he is an agent for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and his new wife, Sarah, is the state medical examiner. And they get married and they're going on their honeymoon. During their honeymoon, they hear someone screaming for help and then a fire, and then they find a body. And they basically spend the entire book trying to figure out, the place that they go for their honeymoon is like a family-owned business, so they have to go to like each member of the family and people that are close to them or people that work there, as well as all the other people who are staying on the property, to figure out what happened to the person that died and why. They want the full story so that something can happen, and I really, really liked it. I feel like I just love the Will Trent series. Like, I have a special place in my heart for Will Trent. I just love his character so much, and I feel like as I've read all of the books, you get to know more about his personality and about his family, his upbringing, and all that fun stuff. So I was a big fan. I love Karen Slaughter books. The Will Trent series is not as graphic as some of her standalones, which is good. So yeah, I liked that. The last 3 books I actually have the physical copy of, so let me share. This is House of Glass by Sarah Pekkanen, and this looks like it should be, the name House of Glass sounds like it would be like a fantasy, like a romantasy type book, but it's not. It is a thriller, and this cover is stunning. I got this book from St. Martin's Press. They sent it to me, which was so kind of them, but I'm gonna read the description because I don't really have a good way to describe it. So here we go. Rose Barclay is a 9-year-old girl who witnessed the possible murder of her nanny in the midst of her parents' bitter divorce and immediately stops speaking. Stella Hudson is a best interest attorney appointed to serve as counsel for children in high conflict custody cases. She never accepts clients under 13 due to her own traumatic childhood, but Stella's mentor, a revered judge, believes Stella is the one who can help. From the moment Stella passes through the iron security gate and steps into the gilded historic home of the Barclays, she realizes the case is even more twisted and the Barclay family far more troubled than she feared. And there's something eerie about the house itself. It's a plastic house, not a single bit of glass to be found. As Stella comes closer to uncovering the secrets the Barclays are desperate to hide, danger wraps around her like a shroud, and her past and present are set on a collision course in ways she never expected. Everyone is a suspect in the nanny's murder. The mother, the father, the grandmother, the nanny's boyfriend, even Rose. Is the person Stella supposed to protect the one she may need protection from? So I was a big fan of this. Most of the books I've read by Sarah Pekkanen have been written with Greer Hendricks, so I really liked that this was just Sarah Pekkanen. I thought it was great. I think I gave it 4 stars, but I'm not sure why. Either way, I was a big fan. And the last 2 books are by the same author, and I have a story to tell about them actually. So first let me show you what they are, and then I will talk about kind of why I decided to read them. So they are Heartless and Flawless by Elsie Silver. And these are both physical copies, obviously, but they are obviously not the traditional covers that are out at the moment. These were signing exclusive books. So now I need to tell you the story about how I got my hands on them. Okay, so let's back up. It is March 2024, and my friend Kayla lives in California. She is a book talker, and she does personal assistant stuff for authors as well as social media stuff for authors. But in that, she also does like assistant work at signings for authors. So on this day, she was going to this book signing, which happened to be in South Carolina. I live in South Carolina. We were gonna be on the same coast, not even just on the same coast, in the same state. So I was willing to take advantage of that to go see her and hang out with her. And so we'd only met each other in person one other time before, and it was at her wedding in California, so I wanted to take the opportunity to go see her, and I drove to Charleston, and I basically sat with her at this signing while she was doing some work. These books were signing exclusives. Elsie Silver had these books available on her website for pre-order, and you could only purchase them if you were coming to the signing because she was not going to ship them anywhere. So basically, you bought the books and you come to the signing to pick them up. And that was the only way you could get these books. A lot of people at the signing were so upset. The color on my screen just changed so much. There were a lot of people who came to the signing that wanted to buy any extra copies that she had. However, Elsie Silver is a Canadian author, and she did not have any way to accept American money that day. And she was not going to take cash, because if she did it for one person, she'd have to do it for everyone. So she just decided to not sell any copies while she was there. Let's fast forward to the end of the signing. She's done signing, everybody's gone, she's packed up all the extra copies of books, and she has a set of the Chestnut Springs books, which are these, of course, with these beautiful, like watercolor looking covers. And she realizes that these have slight imperfections and she can't sell them anywhere. This one, when I say slight, I mean literally slight. This one has a little marker here. And this one, some of the pages got a little bit messed up. So she didn't feel comfortable selling them. I also have the rest of the series and they're just little slight imperfections on some of them. One of them has like some sticky stuff on it. Another one has a little Sharpie marker on it. But either way, they're signed. So that's fun. But anyway, that's how I got my hands on these books. And everyone, I kept seeing that they were like super spicy. So I was like not really wanting to read them because like I said with the Megan Quinn thing, kind of uncomfortable with spicy books. But I figured I had these beautiful books on my shelf. So I decided to give them a read. And this, in terms of the spiciness, I feel like is the same way with some of the Megan Quinn books where you can skim through the super spicy parts and it gives nothing, like it does not take the plot away. In fact, these were so good. I was so impressed. And obviously people love her books for a reason because they're great. But Flawless is about Rhett Eaton, who is a cowboy. He's a bull rider, and his agent's daughter, named Summer, is basically his new babysitter because he cannot get himself together. So Summer shows up to the ranch that he lives on and is trying to make sure that he's on his best behavior. And of course, we love a forced proximity moment. Some would say enemies to lovers because he seems to hate her in the beginning. It's very Grumpy Sunshine and big fan. Okay, this was so good. And also after reading the book, these like symbols on the front of the books make sense. So I really liked this. And then Heartless is about Rhett's brother Cade, who is a single dad. He hires a nanny for the summer to take care of his son, and she is like 15 years younger than him. Age gap romance. Again, forced proximity. She lives in his house with him over the summer, and they're just like skirting around their attraction for each other basically all summer long. And he has lots of feelings about his past and about how he became a single father and all kinds of stuff. And overall, I thought it was really good. I just feel like I can't believe I didn't give these books a chance sooner. So anyway, those were all the books that I read in the month of March. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below. Let me know what books you read in March or are currently reading, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.